I can just make more of you. She yelled back at him, no you can't. Mom takes pills to stop that. Parents of Reddit, what why? Has your toddler thrown you that even Google couldn't answer? My toddlers are easy, they usually just want to know why they have to have a nap or put on clean socks. My 6 and 7-year-olds, however, throw some weird shit at me. I got excited the other day when my 7-year-old asked me why some trees lose their leaves in the winter but pine trees and other spiky trees keep theirs. I did a brief explanation about the difference between deciduous and coniferous trees and how chlorophyll is collected and stored. It went great. He immediately followed it up with, how do we know that some cities and houses have real people in them and aren't just full of plastic cutouts that look like people? Obligatory, not a parent, but I was babysitting a 4-year-old and the child pointed to a cooler out in the backyard and said, "Child, do you want to go die in that cooler out there?" Me, no thank you. Child, why not? I would enjoy watching that. Me, because I like my life the way it is, I'm happy and there's no need to die yet. Child, why? Pretty sure I babysat a future serial killer. My niece, 5 at the time, asked me who was the first mother. I was confused and asked, what do you mean? Your mother's mother? And she goes, no, my mother's mother had a mother, and then she had a mother too. But how far does it go? Who was the first mother? My 5-year-old asked me why the world goes on forever and we do the same thing over and over again every day. Sorry, but I was hoping you would get to adulthood before feeling like that. My daughter regularly makes claims and then asks me why. Like, I want to play outside. Why do I want to play outside? I want noodles for dinner. Why do I want noodles for dinner, etc. When I tell her that I can't know why she decided something if she doesn't know herself, you can see the gears start turning in her head. P.S. Yes, I know I can make educated guesses. I stopped after that only led to the frustration of her because I was always wrong. She doesn't know what is right, but she was sure my reasons were wrong. My son was the why. 4-year-old son in bath. Mommy, come here, I have something to show you. Me, what's up bud? Pulling his penis to the side and aggressively pulling at his balls. Why does this have wrinkles when my fingers aren't wrinkly yet, and why when I stretch it like this the wrinkles go away? Me, well, I don't have one so I have no idea. Let me get your dad. He killed me with his whys, especially since most of them were concerning his penis, poop or throwing up. Come on baby, it's time to get dressed and get out of bed. We do this every day. Why, mama? Good point, go back to bed. My 3-year-old son, most mornings, where'd daddy go? Me, he went to work. Him, cause why? Me, so he can make money so we can have a house and food and clothes. Him, cause why? Me, like a kid, I haven't even had coffee yet. Me, I love you. 3-year-old, why? Me, because you're my little boy. 3-year-old, why? It's been 2 weeks and I'm still evaluating why. Sent me on an existential journey. True story. Mom, what's the thing you put in your butt? She asked this for years and I would constantly tell her you don't put things in your butt. She would ask this all the time. Initially, I was terrified she may have. Finally, I got the answer. In Walmart. At the checkout. As I'm purchasing tampons, she screams at the top of her lungs, those are what you stick up your butt. I must have had her with me at one time and it traumatized her. Although not more than I was in Walmart that day. My child was 5, pointed at condoms in the grocery store and asked what they were for. I was exhausted so I said they prevent babies. 2 weeks later he went to a friend's house who had a sibling. He discovered his friend had to share with his baby brother, and the baby brother was 3 and very annoying because he kept stealing the Legos they were building with, and my son has always been serious about his Legos. He asked why he didn't have a brother. I said, because you're an only child, do you want a brother or sister? No, well good, because you weren't gonna get one anyway. Back in Kroger a few days later and my child shouted at the top of his lungs, don't forget the condoms. I like being an only child. He didn't know why they prevented babies, he just wanted to make sure there wouldn't be any more. He now, age 13, refers to the dog like his brother because our dog is a thief who steals things and buries them in his toy box. My daughter used to ask why I took a pill every day and I said it was so we didn't have more kids. She and her dad were joking around and she said something sassy at him and he replied, you'd better behave, I can just make more of you. She yelled back at him, no you can't. Mom takes pills to stop that. Had this conversation with the kid at 3 years old. Explained that bosses would get mad. He said that he didn't like bosses and that bosses shouldn't exist. I told him that people who don't think there should be bosses are called anarchists. A few months later he threw a fit wanting to go to a park. I told him that it couldn't happen. He said, he was going anyway and that I wasn't the boss of him. I told him that actually, I was the boss of him. In a shocked voice, he said, but I don't believe in bosses. I'm an anarchist. When I was in the army and back home on mid-tour leave, my 5-year-old niece asked me, Uncle Tupai Kit, what is war? Like a shit kid, I don't even know that answer. Why do we put one leg forward and leg back while walking? Why can't both legs go together? Clearly, my 3-year-old baby has still not forgotten the kangaroo life of her previous birth. Son, pointing, Daddy, what's that? Me, that's a cow. Son, why? Me. I was invited to a child's birthday party. The kids are around 2 to 3. One of them came up to me at the party, just me, and asked, why are you here? I laughed so hard I didn't know what to say. She did it again later at the party. I don't know, kid, I'm here for the cake. Why are you here? At 4 years old she asked me, why is happiness important? Turns out, it's a surprisingly difficult question to answer. My 4-year-old asked me, how many arms does an octopus have? 8, I replied. Let's ask Google, my son said, doubting the veracity of my answer. Fine, I say. Okay Google, how many arms does an octopus have? 6, she replies. Og. Thanks a lot, Google. 6-year-old son, Dad, what if my nuts were pop rocks and they made my penis sparkle? Me, that wouldn't be very good. I don't know how else to respond to that. Son, why? Me, go to sleep please. Why can't I sleep in my Elsa dress? Well shit, I suppose you can if you want. Not why but how. My little cousin asked me, how do we see such big trees with such little eyes? Son, why do I have to go daycare? Me, because I have to work. Son, why do you have to work? Me, because I need to make money. Son, why do you need to make money? Me, because I can buy you whatever you want. Son, but mommy, I just want to spend time with you. Me. My child asked me why the toys Santa brings all say made in China on them. Took me 3 days to come up with the answer that the elves source materials from China. The question just took me by surprise. Figured this was the last year she would believe in Santa. Not a why question. When she was around 3, me and her dad separated. He was an active drug user and I couldn't afford to support his habit, nor did I want to watch him die/didn't want my daughter to toddle in and find him dead. Oddly, he was found dead years later, but by my grandmother, another story. He eventually became homeless. My daughter knew about the homelessness and was very concerned about her dad. When we were driving sometimes, she'd look out the window and say, maybe daddy can live in that house. Maybe he can live in that one there. Broke my damn heart. I was heading back from a game on the train a few years ago and there were a boy and his dad. The kid was 5 or 6 years old. For a solid 90 minutes, that kid asked his dad question after question after question. His dad answered every single one patiently, simply, and handled all the follow-ups. He listened to the kid, thought for a moment, and then calmly blew the kid's mind over and over again. Dad, what's that in that field? Dad, why are the lights on the ceiling instead of the floor? Dad, what are bins made of? Dad, who knows where we are now? And so on. The kid was so wonderfully curious. By an hour in, all the seats around were listening in and grinning at each other. I learned all sorts of stuff listening in. It was incredible. I'm a dad now and I just hope I can be like that dad for my kids. It was amazing. Why can't you just live with mommy again? That one crushed me. My toddler will bring me an object, tell me it's named, and ask why. Daddy, this is an orange. Why? The best was before she could form sentences. Orange. Daddy, why? Like, why, oranges? Like, why do they exist? Why do we have them? Why are they how they are? Why is it called that? Why what? My sister's toddler asked her mummy, "What if trees ate all the food?" We still laugh about that one 20 years later. I used to be a guitar teacher, and a kid who had been coming to lessons for a few years once asked me how a guitar string makes sound. I told him that you pluck the strings and they vibrate and that makes sound. And he said, "Yeah, but why does a vibrating string make a sound?" I had been a musician for 20 years and I realized I had absolutely no idea. My 4-year-old son asked my wife who takes care of babies since they can't do anything on their own. She told him that mommies and daddies take care of their babies. He asked a couple more questions and ended up on who took care of babies when there were only babies in the world, basically asking when the first humans were babies, how did they survive? Wasn't ready for such a deep philosophical question, and Google did not have a good answer either. He kept hitting me with "but why" after every question, so I distracted him, then asked him something, then started asking him "but why" after every answer till he got mad and left the room. The ones that aren't a question. For many months we had questions along the line of "why that red car? Does he mean why is the car red? Why is it a car? Why is the red car here?" We could never figure out which. Turned out that there was no real question, he just wanted us to talk about the subject and used "why" as a way of phrasing it as a question. "Son, why do we sleep?" Me, "Well, because it's bedtime and we're tired." "Son, no, why do we sleep?" "Daddy, why did you and Mama divorce?" Things I know I can't say. 1. She's a raging, passive-aggressive bitch. 2. We haven't had sex in 8 years. 3. She doesn't know she's a lesbian. Decide to keep it PC with. Sometimes things just don't work out, honey. Okay. As she walks away, Mama says you are a cheating ass bastard. My 5-year-old nephew asked why did God create the forbidden tree if he doesn't want anyone to eat it? And why did he put it in the middle of the Eden garden where everyone can see it? My 3-year-old son once asked what's going to happen at the end of the day? So I answered, "Darling, we get ready for bed and have a story and go to sleep." He then asked, "But what happens at the end of all the days?" So I took a deep breath. Well, he is a deep thinker. When I was 5 or 6 I asked my father how we knew that when we moved in the car that it was the car moving and not the ground moving beneath the tires. I guess I was really asking how we'd test it, but ultimately he got very frustrated with me and told me to stop asking questions. Decades later he would describe this as the point where he knew I was smarter than him. Me, "Don't touch the pot, it's hot. You'll get burned." Daughter, "Why?" Me, "Because it's hot." Daughter, "Okay. Why?" "I want to touch." Me, "Because I told you not to." Daughter, "Okay. Why not?" Me, "Because you'll get hurt if you do." Daughter, "Touch it slowly." Me, "Don't touch the pot because if you do I'll hide the iPad." Daughter, "Naughty mama. Time out for you." A few days ago he was staring out the window and asked, "Why am I me?" I didn't even know how to respond to that one. I was just like, "Damn, you alright buddy?" As he's staring at his hand intensely for the entire car ride to school, "Daddy, what if the fingers on my hand grew tiny hands and those fingers grew tiny hands?" Little dude was maybe 5 or 6. But it was like having a conversation with a pothead. My toddler will do this and I keep answering until I get to one of these 4 places. 1. The creation of the universe. 2. One of the 4 fundamental forces. 3. A metaphysical discussion of forms. 4. The existence of God. When I get here I tell him that I can't answer anything else because I'll just confuse us both. Why can't I play with your vibrator at 5 a.m? And why is it under the covers with you? I learned real quick not to fall asleep with my vibrator or my toddler would find it. The little shit also learned real fast that mommy likes hiding it, and so he would go through my drawers, boxes, and stuff looking for it whilst my back was turned. I gave up when my sister came over for dinner one night and while I was cooking he had somehow found it again, and came up behind her and was giving her a massage which she enjoyed until I freaked out and just threw it out. One day I'll share this funny story with him while giving a speech at his wedding lmao. Not a why question but thought I'd share either way. We were driving around and my 8-year-old asked me if trees were just big broccoli. I told him, yes they are, and they're good for your soul. He told me to stop and to look at him. I looked at him from the mirror and tells me, Mama, I have no soul. Did not know how to answer to that lmao. I have one dark kid lmao. My 3-year-old is in a phase of asking a lot of questions. My wife, a little frustrated, asked him, "Why do you ask so many questions?" He responded with, "Why do you ask so few questions?" There's no good response to that. Not a why but a what? I took my grandson to see some frogs at a pond. He wanted to know what kind of frogs they were. Not knowing about frogs, I said the first thing that came to mind, which was, "I'm not sure." He got hysterical and melted down because he decided they were croak frogs and he wanted ribbit frogs. First grade student asked me, "How long have you lived?" You mean how old am I? No, how long have you lived? Couldn't figure out if she wanted to know my age or was a budding motivational speaker. One time, just after my mom passed away, my daughter said, after confirming with me she was now in heaven, where she couldn't be sick or hurt anymore, "Well, I think we should all die and go to heaven." It honestly caught me completely off guard and took a brief pause to consider a semi-appropriate response. Brother is peeing in the toilet with his friend. Mom bursts in, "You can't do that. One person at a time." Brother and friend, why? My 3-year-old asks why about everything. This is an actual conversation we had last week. "Let's go to the park." Why? Don't you want to go? Yes. That's why. Why do you want to go? It'll make you happy. Why? Because you want to go. Why do I want to go? You just said you wanted to go. But why? I don't know. Why do you like the park? It's fun. Okay, let's go. Why? I then gave up and just strapped her on the bike to go. Lost my dog a year and a half ago. My 3-year-old was present for it. It was cancer, so it was a slow, heartbreaking process. We buried him in the backyard. Why did he have to die? Why did he get sick? What's cancer? Why did he get cancer? Why can't they fix him? Why is he going to doggy heaven? Is he going to come back? Can we go to visit him? Why can't we go to visit him? Can he visit us? But months after, our new puppy was burying a bone in the yard and he asks, why is he burying his bone? Is he sending it up to doggy heaven for Fitzy? Yup. He sure is, buddy. My daughter wasn't a why-er, she was a who-er. She demanded accountability for everything. Who made birds have feathers? Who makes lightning? Who ate that donut? Who moved my sheepy? Who made cereal? Who puts that there, a manhole? City workers did. Why? So they can get to the sewer that's under there. Who put the sewer under there? I dunno, city engineers, I guess. Well, whose the idea was it? Who? Who did it? I don't know, was the instant tantrum answer. Thank you for watching Reddit Space. Please subscribe if you love these Reddit stories.